Hello trainers, and welcome to the wild area and my first video on the YouTube platform. My name is Drake-usan, and on today's video, I'm going to be giving you my top 5 tips to help you and your friends complete Pokemon Unite's newest minigame mode, Boss Rush, on the highest difficulty of Extreme. I was streaming on Twitch last night after the servers reopened, and I decided to check out the new mode with my viewers. From starting with zero information about the new mode, we were able to complete Boss Rush at the highest difficulty with over 30 seconds left to spare. As always, if you enjoy this type of Pokemon Unite content, please show your support by leaving a like on the video. Your support for the work I put into this content is always greatly appreciated. And with that, let's go ahead and get into my top 5 tips to getting you and your friends to your first completion of Boss Rush's extreme difficulty. Tip number 5, understanding how each boss functions. Boss Rush is separated into 3 phases with 5 potential bosses to encounter. Dreadnought, Avalugg, or Araquanid can be your first boss in Phase 1, the legendary birds, Zapdos and Articuno, are the potential bosses for Phase 2, and Regigigas is the final boss in Phase 3. A whole separate video can be created to break down each boss, but generally, the game gives you hints or notifications on which attacking move is coming next. This gives you a few seconds for you and your team to decide on what to do, how to avoid damage and KOs, while optimizing your damage during these attack periods. I best recommend taking some time at the lower difficulty to understand how each boss functions before taking on the higher damaging, higher health bosses with longer respawn timers if you do get KO'd in the higher difficulties. Tip number 4, optimize your item selection. Boss Rush is a mode that is very different from the standard or ranked games in Pokemon Unite. You won't be doing any scoring in this mode, and you'll only be attacking wild Pokemon. This means that the held items like Attack Weight, Aeos Cookie, Special Attack Specs, or Score Shield don't do so well here. Since this is a time mode, your DPS or damage per second towards wild Pokemon is incredibly important, so I highly recommend investing your held item slots to maximize your damage output. These items include Muscle Band, Scope Lens, Razor Claw, Choice Specs, or Wise Glasses, but of course, make sure you're equipping the appropriate held items to the type of attacker you're using. You wouldn't attach Choice Specs or Wise Glasses to a Decidueye because Decidueye uses physical attack damage rather than special attack damage. Similarly, with battle items, it wouldn't make too much sense to equip Goal Getter since you won't be doing any scoring in this mode. For battle items, I highly recommend that your DPS attacking Pokemon equip Fluffy Tail, since landing a well-timed Fluffy Tail can allow you to shred a boss's Pokemon's health very quickly. Remember though, that Fluffy Tail's effect only works for the character casting it, and not for your teammates. But multiple Fluffy Tails can be casted onto a single target simultaneously to maximize damage across the team. For your defenders, you could also make a really strong argument for equipping a potion rather than an attacking item. My reasons why will make sense after the next 2 tips. Tip number 3, prioritize team composition. In casual and even intermediate difficulties, your team can get away with running 5 attackers. But in extreme, the heals from a support character like Blissey or Eldegoss, or the bulkiness of a defender will allow your squishier, higher DPS mons to last longer in the fight. For our completed extreme run, our lineup consisted of Blissey as our support, Crustle as our defender, with Decidueye, Charizard, and Duraludon as our attackers. While this was our team composition, we did lean towards ranged attackers over melee attackers since we could keep the boss at a distance while being able to avoid AoE or area of effect attacks from the boss Pokemon. I did allude to this in the last tip and in tip number 4, but for this next tip, we're going to talk about a term that's from the MMO genre, or the massively multiplayer online genre, since Boss Rush has a lot of similarities to this genre, or the MMO type gameplay. Getting into tip number 2 before I reveal the final tip that helped our team win Boss Rush for the first time. Tip number 2, understanding aggro mechanics. Aggro is a term from the MMO genre that describes the action of a boss character targeting a certain character or champion. After some brief testing, we noticed that if a certain teammate attacks the boss Pokemon first, the boss Pokemon will become aggro towards that teammate and prioritize their attacks to KO that teammate first. Whether it's being the first Pokemon to attack the boss Pokemon or just simply being a defender, that is one thing that we noticed. At extreme difficulties, many of our DPS Pokemon could only take about 2 attacks before being KO'd. However, when a defender was aggroed, they could obviously take a lot more of the hits from the boss. Coupled with a support Pokemon and a potion as their battle item, our defender took a lot of the attack attention away from our DPS mons, allowing them to survive, attach fluffy tails, and maximize their damage output, since the defender / supporter couldn't contribute a ton of the DPS output. This goes back to tip number 3, in that prioritizing team composition over straight DPS is crucial for completing the extreme level difficulty for your first time. And for our last and final tip, this is probably what helped us the most for getting us to that final victory. Tip number 1, communication saves lives. You only have 5 minutes to defeat all 3 bosses. And if you're KO'd, you're away from the battlefield for 15 to sometimes 25 seconds when you add up respawn time, traveling time from home base to the boss, and any hindrances on the battlefield when you rejoin.
What's up, Chris? Chris, why are you going? It's a blizzard. Why? Yes.
Communicating to your teammates on the next upcoming attack. Icy Wind Shockwave, I'm moving away. Desi stays.
AoE on me.
Which side of the pillar to stand on when a blizzard is coming, healing needed from the support, rotations, all that stuff is communicated best over comms and will increase your team's response time and keep your champions alive and in the fight for longer. Teammates being KO'd will happen, but minimizing the number of KOs to avoid full team wipes is completely preventable with good communication. Of course, this last tip is truly dependent on finding friends to play with, as this mode is meant to be played with others. If you're having trouble finding others to play Boss Rush with, be sure to join the Discord or join me on my Twitch to get to know other members of our Unite community and team up to defeat Regigigas together.
Oh, we got
Thank you all so much if you made it to the end of the video, and if you were able to complete Boss Rush on the hardest difficulty, what team did you do it with? These tips again are based off of my very early experience and very little knowledge going into the mode, so if you have any exciting gameplay, strategies, or team compositions that you'd like to share, be sure to share them down in the comment section down below. And with that, trainers, enjoy the 1-year anniversary of Pokemon Unite. Be sure to follow me here and on Twitch, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Till next time, see you soon, trainers.